There comes a moment when the face of your enemy becomes the only thing you can see. You wake up with their name like a bitter stone in your mouth, and you go to sleep rehearsing arguments with a ghost. You believe your hatred is a reaction to their flaws, their malice, or their existence. You are mistaken. Your hatred is not a bridge between you and them. It is a wall you have built to hide from yourself. Awakening begins when you realize that the other is a fiction. The person who keeps you awake at night is not an external threat, but a messenger from the basement of your own soul. They are the personification of everything you have suppressed, denied, and buried under the floorboards of your conscious mind. To hate them is to hate the reflection in a mirror you didn't know you were holding. Before we unlock the first seal of the shadow, we must address the few who are ready to look into the abyss. If you are one of the 2% who seek the truth behind the veil of the ego, please click subscribe to join our journey through the darkness toward liberation. Your presence here is not an accident. It is the first crack in the scaffolding of your perceived reality. Now imagine a world where every conflict is a dialogue with your own forgotten potential. The anger you feel is not a sign of their guilt, but a symptom of your own fragmentation. We spend our lives running from the dark, only to find that the dark has taken the shape of our neighbors, our colleagues, and our rivals. It is time to stop running and start looking at the glass. The human ego is a hollow construction, a fragile shell held together by the stories we tell ourselves about who we are. But for every light we turn on, a shadow is cast behind us. This is the shadow, the reservoir of our unlived lives, our ugly desires, and our unacceptable truths. Because we cannot bear to look at this decay, we perform a psychological sleight of hand called projection. Projection is the act of taking our internal rot and draping it over the shoulders of someone else. It is a biological necessity for the ego's survival. If I cannot admit that I am capable of cruelty, I must find a cruel person to loathe. If I cannot face my own cowardice, I will be obsessed with the cowardice of others. This is the scaffolding of your social reality, a world of mirrors where you only see what you refuse to be. Consider this: the person who triggers you the most is actually your greatest benefactor. They are carrying the weight of your own shadow so that you don't have to. The suffocation you feel in their presence is not caused by their energy, but by the proximity of your own repressed truths. You are gasping for air because your soul is trying to breathe through a mask that no longer fits. Now, imagine the energy it takes to maintain this illusion. We build elaborate systems of morality and judgment just to keep the projection in place. We call it justice or opinion, but it is often just the ego's desperate attempt to keep the mirror abyss from reflecting our own face. We are all participants in a global experiment of denial, where the price of admission is our own wholeness. Carl Jung warned us that everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. But the path to this understanding is blocked by a biological sentinel, the amygdala. When you encounter someone who reflects your shadow, your brain does not see a mirror, it sees a predator. This is the amygdala hijack, a primitive survival mechanism that shuts down your higher reasoning to protect your ego. The moment you feel that surge of righteous indignation, your observer self is gone. You are no longer a conscious being. You are a biological switch flipped into the on position. The Matrix uses this switch to keep you in a state of perpetual separation. By keeping you focused on the evil out there, it prevents you from discovering the source of power in here. You are being controlled by the very emotions you think define your identity. Picture this. You are standing before a dark lake. You see a monster beneath the surface, and you begin to throw stones. Each stone creates a ripple that distorts the image further, making the monster look even more terrifying. You don't realize that the lake is your own mind, and the monster is just your own reflection distorted by the ripples of your fear. The more you fight, the more the monster grows. The mirror abyss is the point where the projection fails and the truth begins to bleed through. It is the terrifying realization that your enemy's flaws are actually your own unrefined qualities. If their arrogance infuriates you, it is because you have a hidden pride that has never been allowed to speak. If their weakness disgusts you, it is because you have never made peace with your own vulnerability. The abyss is not empty. It is crowded with the versions of yourself you have discarded. Unraveling this web requires a radical kind of honesty that most people find repulsive. It is the process of stripping bare the justifications we use to hate. We must ask, what part of this person is living inside me? This is the forbidden alchemy of the soul. We take the lead of our hatred and attempt to transmute it into the gold of self-awareness. But the ego will scream in pain, for it knows that in the light of this truth, it must die. The mirror abyss is not merely a metaphor. It is a forbidden warning etched into the very architecture of your psyche. Carl Jung understood that the shadow self is the most dangerous ghost you will ever hunt because it wears your own skin and speaks with your own voice. When you look at your enemy, you are witnessing a glitch in your perceived reality, a moment where the internal and external worlds collide in a flash of blind rage. This collision is a visceral reminder that the boundaries of the self are far more porous than your ego would like to admit. Picture this. You are caught in a cycle of reaction, your heart racing and your breath becoming shallow as you fixate on another's perceived flaws. This is the biological trap in action. By focusing on the other, you are effectively being forcibly disconnected from your matrix, but not in the way you might hope. Instead of liberation, you are being tethered tighter to the illusion of separation. You are fighting a war against a reflection, unaware that every blow you land is a wound you inflict upon your own soul's potential for wholeness. We build a complex scaffolding of hate to keep our own hollow nature from collapsing under the weight of the truth. Every time you judge someone, every time you point a finger at their decay, you are adding a structural support to the wall that hides your own rotting soul from your sight. We need enemies, because without them, we would be forced to face the terrifying silence of our own internal void. The architecture of your life, the people you choose to hate, is a precise mirror of the internal rot you have refused to acknowledge or heal. Consider this: hatred is a form of intimacy. It requires an immense amount of biocircuitry energy to maintain a resentment. You are essentially plugging your DNA antenna into the frequency of another person's existence, allowing their actions to dictate your internal state. This is the sound matrix of control, not one imposed by a distant tyrant, but one you maintain through your refusal to stop looking at the mirror long enough to see the glass. You have become an architect of your own prison, using the bricks of others' mistakes to build your cell. There is a secret the world doesn't want you to know. The person you hate the most is the key to your greatest power. We spend our lives building a scaffolding of judgment to hide our own internal decay. But what if the monster you see in them is just your own unlived potential screaming for recognition? This is the Jungian mirror, a forbidden psychological trap where your enemies are just your own shadow. To stop the war outside, you must first win the battle within. If you feel the weight of this truth, the full decoding of your reality is waiting. Before we continue this unraveling, join those who are ready to see. Carl Jung's forbidden warning is that you must become a monster to find God. This is the ultimate polarity hack, the alchemical key that turns fear into power. Most people live in a state of suffocation, trying to be good by suppressing their capacity for darkness. But a person who is incapable of doing harm is not virtuous, they are simply harmless. True virtue is the monster that has been fully integrated and tamed, a power that understands the abyss because it has walked its depths and returned. Now imagine the freedom of no longer having to pretend. When you acknowledge the beast within, the part of you that is capable of the same decay you see in your enemy, the mirror abyss loses its power to terrify you. You no longer need to project your internal rotting onto others because you have brought it into the light of consciousness. This is the alchemical stage of soul transformation, where the lead of your repressed hatred is finally transmuted into the gold of true spiritual authority. To strip bare the soul is to engage in a forbidden meditation, a still point technique where the ego's constant trying finally ceases. It requires you to sit in the vibration of silence and watch the images of your enemies arise without reaching for the familiar weapon of judgment. This is the 0 point of the heart, the infinite energy field, where the separation between me and them begins to dissolve into the holographic universe. It is not a passive act, but a radical unraveling of the self you pretended to be. Picture this: you are standing in the center of your own life, and for the first time you see the scaffolding for what it is, a temporary structure built to protect a hollow center. By integrating the shadow, you are not adding to yourself. You are removing the barriers to what was always there. You are reclaiming the energy you once spent on hatred and redirecting it into your own bioelectric awakening. You are no longer a victim of the mirror abyss. You have become the light that reveals the mirror is empty. The dark marriage is the ultimate unraveling of the scaffolding you have spent a lifetime constructing. It is the moment where you stop trying to kill the monster and instead invite it to the table. This is the synthesis of your perceived holiness and your hidden decay. Carl Jung's forbidden warning reminds us that we do not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious through the mirror abyss. You are finally stripping bare the illusion that you are a singular, pure entity, and instead accepting the vast, chaotic landscape of the shadow self. Consider this: every person you have ever loathed was a guest at this wedding you refused to attend. They were the placeholders for the qualities you felt would cause your social or spiritual suffocation. But in the dark marriage, you realize that the hollow space within you is not a void to be feared, but a vessel to be filled with the power of your integrated self. This is the alchemical stage of soul transformation, where the polarity between good and evil is finally hacked. You are no longer a fragment of a person, but a whole universe experiencing itself through the lens of a conscious hologram. Picture this: the scaffolding of your old life is falling away, piece by piece. The judgments you held, the resentments you nurtured, and the architecture of decay that defined your environment are all dissolving. You are standing in the vibration of silence, where the need to project your internal rotting soul onto others has vanished. This is the still point where the wild pendulum of your mind finally finds its center. In this marriage, there is no other to blame, for you have recognized that every enemy was just a glitch in the matrix, a synchronicity trap designed to wake you up. Now imagine the weight lifting from your shoulders as the amygdala hijack no longer dictates your reality. You are no longer a slave to the biological switch that kept you in a state of perpetual suffocation and fear. You have integrated the monster, and in doing so, you have found the only God that is not a projection of your own ego. This is the final secret of the holographic universe, that the light you seek is actually hidden within the very darkness you fled. You are the mirror, you are the shadow, and you are the observer who finally sees they are one. We have traveled through the mirror abyss, dismantled the scaffolding of hate, and stood before the architecture of decay. You have been shown that your enemies are not obstacles to your ascension, but the very guardians waiting to test your readiness to wake up. The question that remains is not whether you can forgive them, but whether you can survive the death of the self that needed them to be evil. Awakening feels like death, because it is the death trap of the ego being triggered. It is the final stripping bare of every story you used to tell yourself about why you were good. Consider this: as you leave this experience, the world will try to pull you back into the sound matrix of separation. It will offer you new enemies to hate and new scaffolding to build. It will attempt to trigger your biological switch once more. But you now carry the polarity hack, the secret knowledge that your DNA is an antenna tuned to the frequency of your own choosing. Will you choose to see the mirror abyss, or will you choose to see the truth that lies behind the glass? The choice is the only free will you truly possess in this simulated code. The full decoding of your reality is not a destination, but a constant unraveling. If you have felt the vibration of silence during this journey, then the first seal has already been broken. You are no longer one of the sleepers. You are one of the watchers. Before you return to the world of shadows, remember that the monster you found within is the only one who can lead you out of the maze. Your enemies have done their job. They have shown you your own face. This 60-minute glimpse into the Jungian mirror is only the key. The full mystical journey is your life itself. If you are one of the 2% who have reached this point, the void's revenge is no longer your fear, but your ultimate weapon of peace. Walk forward with the knowledge that the mirror is empty, for the observer and the reflection have finally become one. Until we meet again in the next unraveling, keep your eyes on the shadows, for that is where the light is hidden.